Hi everybody, my name is Monal. I am from Nepal. And my story would not be complete if I don't talk about my grandmother first. Ever since I was a little child, not this little, but quite little, my grandmother used to take me to the school where she was teaching in a government school. She would leave me in the nursery class and tell me, teach them anything. So I think from a very young age, I was around children, and little did she know that that is when she planted the seed for me to become an educator. In 2018, I joined as a facilitator to help little students in Nepal tell stories, whether it be personal stories or fictional stories, but really focus on self-expression, creativity, and critical thinking, all skills that are not promoted in the education system in Nepal. And fast forward to now, I'm very proud to stand in front of you as the director of Canopy, where I started my facilitation journey. We transform education in Nepal and we reduce dropout rates. So why do we do what we do? In Nepal, there is a 73% dropout rates before students graduate from high school. So if 100 students join in grade 1, only 27 of them finish school and the rest drop out because of various reasons, but mostly two. One, because they cannot afford education. So although government education is free, it's not really. And the other is the quality of education. The system is not created to curate the students, but rather for them to learn. What's worse is all of these students are stuck in a cycle of poverty. So what do? With our support, students like her and thousands others stay in school, they complete school, they hone skills of soft skills, self-expression, job readiness. They go out, they get a job, and they break that cycle of poverty that is so perpetually following the country. So what do we focus on when we do this? It's not easy to work in education and not easy to work with students. So there's an array of things that we have to tackle. The first one is the education scholarship, which simply helps students stay in school. There's psychosocial well-being aspects that we focus on, career support, vocational and training for them to hone this career support, creative thinking, critical thinking, and storytelling. So for the scholarship program, which is one of the issues, one of the issues that students drop out is the lack of affordability of education. We run a scholarship called Canship, which is a long-term scholarship and mentorship program, because again, staying in school is not enough. Learning how to be in school is also important. And how do we run this program is at the moment, we onboard 10 to 12 students annually when they're about the age of 12, because the dropout starts when they hit 14, so once they become a teenager. We want to increase that number, but right now we are there. Then we provide them educational support. So everything that they need to do to complete education, we're there to support them till they graduate high school. We also do weekly meetups, and we're not alone in this work that we do. There are families that need to be involved in the process, so we also do home visits. We focus on skill enhancement, so there's a holistic growth when they're in school. At the end, we focus on job placement so that these students graduate, but they graduate with a place where they can work and earn back for their family. And for the second issue that causes the dropout, which is a lack of quality of education, we have a program called Katha Buno, which literally means weaving stories in Nepali. And we run a storytelling curriculum in collaboration with the local government, because our job is not to become a system, it is to help fix the system. So how do we do this? Is we first identify local governments that require or have a gap in the system that they're not being able to implement. With them, we identify schools who then need the support with the students that they are, and then we go in and we do a pre-assessment with the students, because one size does not fit all. We need to understand their cultural relevance before we actually go and give the skills that needs them. Then we actually conduct the sessions, which is we go into the field, we stay with the students, focus on interactive pedagogy, which is almost non-existing in the Nepali education space, and we really try to understand them and give them skills that helps them become a better individual and incorporate storytelling into the system. So if you're a Canopy student, what does your life look like? You first are almost 80% of our students are first-generation students in school, so their parents have never been to school. They get consistent education and they retain 100% attendance rate in school other than personal reasons. They enhance their soft skills, which is again very, very important. They're first generation to graduate from school and they get a job. And that's not the end of the story. We also impact the family and the community with it. So the first one is reduced financial strain for these families because they don't have to finance for their child's education anymore. There's an enhanced educational aspiration for the family members, the siblings, the relatives. The generational poverty cycle is broken, and eventually we create a systemic change. At the moment, we have impacted 22,000 students, conducted over 2,500 sessions. We've awarded 225 scholarships. These scholarships are long-term, so a student is with us for 8 years about, and we've worked with 234 schools and growing in the process. But the story does not end there, because it's not just about the numbers that we work, but what happens to these students that we're working with. So again, like I mentioned earlier, we have a 100% attendance rate of these students. Attendance means retention, retention means graduation. There's an academic result improvement in 33.3% of the students, although that is not always our goal. It's always great to see this number, especially for the parents and the teachers. I forgot the third point, but our work would not have been successful if not for all of these organizations that have supported our work, from the Nepal government to prestigious awards like the Harvard Innovation Lab, and this award, the Little Big Fun Fellowship itself, as you can see there, which is why I'm standing in front of you talking about the work. Very proud to also say that we are, I think, the only nonprofit in Nepal that has expanded out of Nepal. So we have a branch in France and a branch in the US. We primarily focus on fundraising with these two branches because that is where the diaspora is, that is where the funding is. But yeah, I am very happy to stand in front of you as a young student that my grandmother took to school and now running an organization, promoting education. She's now retired from her school, but she taught majority of her life. And very proud. I'm going to send a picture of this to my grandmom to say that I stood in front of you. But my story, I think, is the least inspiring of what we do. If you look around tables, I think I've kept a few, but there are magazines where we publish the stories of the students that we work with, actually. So the ones that they write, but also the stories of the students that we support. And for the ones who don't get the copy, you can also scan this to go to our website. The magazines are not to be taken, unfortunately, but I would love to connect and probably send you a package if I can get your address. Thank you.